Hello and welcome to Reality Recapped, where I recap all of the trashiest reality shows. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Heather. I have a bachelor's degree in psychology, and it's through that lens that I watch these shows and make my comments. Of course, I have not met with any of the people on this show, so everything that I state is simply an opinion. My channel is a little bit of education and a whole lot of snark. This week, I'm recapping Sister Wives Season 2, Episode 1, The Browns Out of Hiding. So something that struck me when I watched this intro to Season 2 was that Robin was included and had a tagline for the first time. So this Season 2, Episode 1 is the first time we get to see her included in the intro and what her tagline is.
The wives work together. I want to be a part of that team.
This is a good tagline, I think. It tells us that she wants to be part of a team and she wants to contribute. But in Season 2, Episode 11, just 10 episodes later, she changes her intro tag to be...
Seems like destiny. Like we should have all been together from day one.
I think the teamwork tagline would have been much better, but it's surprising that she got rid of it so quickly. She's like, yeah, no, not teamwork. That's not what I meant. We're not doing teamwork here. This is you all work and I don't work. Robin repeats this notion that they should have all been together from the beginning and it feels like destiny. I'm guessing that Robin has a lot of shame around her past. We all know that she was brought up to believe that if you follow the teachings that God has a divine path that he lays out for you. But if you do not follow the teachings, i.e. if you have premarital sex, it pulls you off the path that he's designed for you. I suspect Robin feels a lot of guilt and shame about the fact that she didn't follow the teachings. And then I think that is what she believes pulled her off into this terrible life that she had with her other husband. If we're right, she has shame around her history. It makes sense that she's doing things like creating portraits of her children at a very young age, way before they ever met Cody, and with Cody at a younger age, as if her history was rewritten and she got on her path sooner than she actually did. This is just a theory, but it explains this bizarre behavior. And it also explains Cody's willingness to create a unique experience too, because, you know, they've all been here from the beginning. I think Robin is going to him behind the scenes and complaining that she wished she would have met him sooner. If we believe Robin and what her life was like with her other husband, we can understand why she wanted to get away sooner and get away from that whole situation. I would also say that if her belief is that she should have been there from the get-go, it also explains her coming in and kind of calling shots really early on. She's making up for this lost time. And she was always supposed to be there. And dang it, when she walks in, she's not going to be cap in hand, as Cody likes to describe her. She's going to demand the space that should have been hers years ago. This is just a theory, but I think it does explain a lot of her behavior. And part of understanding why people do the things that they do is to understand what their belief systems are. And I think this is something that can explain what she's thinking. Of course, we would have to talk to Robin to determine whether this was accurate or not. So take this with a grain of salt, as you do with anything that I say. In this episode, we're going to see the kids going to public school for the very first time. And we're also going to see the ramifications of the Browns going public.
It's the beginning of September, and now the kids are all going to school.
The first time in public school for like half of them.
Counting right, 7 kids haven't ever been to public school before. And we're going to New York City.
We're going to be on the Today Show.
Just to be public about our lifestyle.
I have no idea what to expect.
But we're not coming out to our friends, we're coming out to the world.
Okay, calm down, mister.
It's going to be obvious their brothers and sisters are in their same class.
It's just a lot to discuss.
Let's discuss dishwashing, because I don't think we get to see him doing domestic stuff like this a lot, and it makes me happy that at least he did it at some point.
The living room, please. That one in the living room, cleans my mom's whole house.
I wonder which little kid is saying you have to clean my mom's whole house if they're last one in. Any guesses?
All of our kids seem to want to be in public school.
Except Mariah. She didn't want to go to public school.
We are having you here tonight because you're starting public school. There's just a few things we would like to talk to you about.
Well, I kind of feel like putting them out in the public school is a little bit part of our coming out.
For me, ultimately, we didn't put them in the private school to hide. I think we started out in homeschool and then they moved private school. I was worried about the influences they would be introduced to. The schools in our area, honestly, are high quality.
When Janelle says high quality, what I think she's talking about is the fact that there's a very large Mormon population in Utah. And so she knows she's going to be sending her children to a school with kids that are going to have been brought up with the same belief system that their own children have. What I find fascinating is that when they move to Las Vegas, they continue to have their kids in public school. And I think that speaks volumes of how much more open the Browns became in terms of being in society and not being as scared of it. I don't think that their fear of society would have been changed if they weren't willing to be open and vulnerable and expose themselves. So I think not only did maybe they change some opinions about polygamy, their opinions about society also evolved along with this as the show goes on.
Kind of different in our family. What's different in our family? Hayden? We're polygamous. We're polygamous, right? Okay, now we're going to go to school and people are going to know.
I have a huge pit in my stomach rewatching this because I just, you always worry about kids. You don't want to be teased. But the family goes on to say,
Kids nowadays are pretty open-minded.
Kids are being taught tolerance at school now, value of civil rights and the value of tolerance. It's not just taught, it's a morality.
Grateful for that.
I am too.
I feel different about the kids though. When I was going to school, I was okay, but my brothers and sisters were picked on and bullied. It wasn't known that I was a polygamist, but it was known that they were. I'm nervous that they'll get teased, that it'll stop them from making friends.
Oh goodness, that would be so hard to be in school with your siblings and not be able to protect them. And I'm sure Christine's fear is every parent's fear, that you want your kids to have friends. You don't want them to be isolated and picked on. So, my stomach. The kids are okay. They did fine at school, but man, I'm feeling anxious for them.
Hey, Maps, it's wake up time. You gonna get up now? It's wake up time, bud. Okay.
So Cody will wake up his kids when the cameras are there, but won't put them to bed when it's just him.
Aspen's stressing out.
We're stressing out because she's running late.
We started curling at 5:20.
You're kidding.
Yeah,
Why
such a labor of love.
It doesn't surprise me at all that Christine has been spending an hour and a half curling Aspen's hair. That's the kind of parent she strikes me as. She's very sweet. She wants people to feel confident. She wants people to feel good. And she called it a labor of love, which it definitely is. I know what you're all thinking. Why is she not breaking those curls? And I don't know. Fashion is crazy and no one escapes it. We all have photos we look back on and we're like, what were we thinking?
What grade are you in?
Y'all, 6th grade. Nope. And the kindergarten. Oh yeah, I'm in kindergarten.
Savannah is freaking adorable. This is such a cute little exchange.
I still want summer to continue on. I am not looking forward to school.
It's always hard to go back to school after having months off, right?
We have a little bit of a change this year. Christine will be home more because she has Truly, so she'll be starting to do some breakfast and stuff for my younger kids.
Yeah, it's done on the edges, but not there. I don't know, it's just taking its time today. I'm a little stressed out, and I'll be stressed out probably for a couple of days until I get used to the routine and everything.
I'm leaving. You're supposed to drop everything and come running to me.
Yeah, Christine, get your eye back on the most important person in this family. This one man, not the children that need to be fed or getting them to school on time.
And then when Robin was coming in the family, I thought it would be a very good way to actually help the families merge by having them all go to public school together.
First day of school now, since Cody and I are married, and since now they are polygamous children, they are going to school, public school, with their brothers and sisters. My kids have never talked about this and never addressed this with their friends and teachers, and so this is the first time they're ever saying, look, these are my brothers and sisters, I'm from a polygamous family.
And of course they wouldn't have spoken about it before if that wasn't their circumstance, but when you marry into a polygamous family, everything changes. And Robin goes on to talk about her experience as a kid.
When I was a child and I was in public school, I kept it a secret. So for me now, my kids going to public school and being out where I hadn't my whole life, it was like, okay, we can do this. Dayton made a comment yesterday when we were at the school. The teachers, write down things about yourself. And Dayton goes, yeah, write down stuff like, I am from a polygamous family, in the classroom. And I went like this, even though we're all introducing ourselves, it still kind of froze. Who heard that? Is it going to be okay?
Okay, so it's really hard to say because we're not in this exact situation. But I don't think I would want to send my kids to public school if I was coming out nationally and I was worried about the reception of being public polygamous. I think I would probably want to keep them in a private school and kind of gauge the response. And then if it seemed like it was okay, then send them to public school. But I don't know. What if you were in this situation, you're coming out publicly and you don't know what the response is going to be to coming out and having an alternative lifestyle? Would you send your kids to public school that year, or would you also hold off? Christine talks about filling out the paperwork and the permission to, in case of an emergency, allow somebody else to pull your child out of school. In the past, she's always left it blank, but this year she put other mom.
This is extremely liberating.
I'm not feeling mine out any different.
That to me feels like all the years other polygamists, that's my uncle.
I don't really care.
I think what I've always enjoyed about this show is that everyone could have their own opinion and their own idea of things. And here we see that example where Janelle isn't changing what she's doing and she doesn't feel the need to explain to the school what the relationships are, and Christine wanting to change those things. So I appreciate the show for that at least everybody has their own voice. Christine talks about being a stay-at-home mom and no longer working and that adjustment.
I'm completely bored out of my gourd. I am busy for years, always been doing so many things. And so I decided, after I have Truly, I'm not going to do anything. I'm just not. I'm just going to be a mom and see what that feels like. I'm hoping that Together Cool Kids are going to treat our kids okay. I'm really glad there's a lot of our kids going. Power in numbers.
Hey, so tell me about your day.
My teacher, way boring.
Logan, what did you say?
Food?
Logan will come over with wants food.
I go to Christine's to see if there's food.
I go to Christine's to see if there's food.
I love being a home mom. All through growing up, all I wanted to do was be a mom.
I suspect this conversation about everyone wanting to go to Christine's house for food kind of got under Mary's skin a little bit because she goes into this in the book. Mariah and I like to eat a lot of fruits and vegetables or things that need to be prepared like salads or fish or chicken. Since there's only 2 of us to feed, we don't participate in the big family grocery trips with Janelle and Christine. There's no point in us buying perishable foods in bulk, and I don't have a lot of prepared foods in my cupboards. It even gets frustrating for Cody when he's home that he can't look in the cupboard or the fridge and grab something really quick. What age is it that you turn into your mom? I remember looking in my mom's full refrigerator thinking there was nothing to eat. I think Cody feels like that at my house now. I'm pretty particular about what I like, so I haven't always had the best results when I've asked my sister wives to pick up groceries for me. I forget when I give them a list that I need to be very specific. I like my bananas a certain color, and I like certain kinds of lettuce. I forget that their versions of bananas or lettuce can be very different. It usually just makes more sense for me to shop on my own. I tend to make more frequent shopping trips, but buy less stuff than my sister wives. The snark in the book is hilarious. And we all remember, too, that they had talked about how difficult it was to live with Mary. And remember Janelle referenced something like they were fighting about everything when they first moved in together. Like, do we put oranges in the fridge or not? Like, these were huge fights that they had. I suspect Mary has a little bit of perfectionism. I think Mary is very tightly wound. And to me, it seems like there's an air of superiority with how she talks about the other wives and how they pick bananas and lettuce.
Mariah is going back to the private church school, and it is a cooperative, people in our faith that got together and put the school together.
I don't like public school, so I didn't want to go there again this year.
I think Leon just misspoke here because from what I understand, they've never been in public school. None of the kids have. But what is said is, I don't like public schools, but do you have any experience with public schools? This is a little confusing to me.
I just like my other school better.
I do support letting the kids make this choice too, and I'm happy that they let Leon do what Leon thought was best for them.
Yes!
How was your day?
I don't know about you guys, but I was a latchkey kid, and this scene just makes me so envious. I wish that I would have had a parent at home when I got home off the bus.
Played with any of their brothers and sisters today? Who did you play with?
Growing Gabe and Dave.
You did?
Brianna's like, I told my friend that we're playing, and my friend goes, great. And then we just kept playing.
It doesn't seem to occur to Robin that the young girl that her daughter was playing with probably has no idea what polygamy is and didn't ask any questions. So it's not like they're accepting polygamists. It's this little girl doesn't know what polygamy is, and she just wanted to play. She didn't want to have a discussion about polygamy. The family educates us heathens about ice blocking.
Ice blocking is where you get these big blocks of ice and put a towel on top of them and take them to the top of the hill.
A steep hill.
And then sit on the block and slide down.
Our lifestyle, we have a lot of very high morals. Our kids find some very creative ways to have fun.
I don't know if putting your genitals on a block of ice and sliding down a hill with your family is as pure as you're making it out to be. This seems a little weird. Have you not heard of roller skating or swimming? And it's not like your kids came up with this idea. This is stuff your family did. So it's not because your kids are so pure that they come up with these great ways to have fun. It's you guys being like, hey, let's go get blocks of ice and sit on them. Bizarre.
Dates itself back to the 1800s.
Yeah, you know the 1800s. You know, when they used to cut ice out of lakes and transport them on mules so that Mormons could do something pure with their other family members, like sliding down a hill on ice. This sounds true.
There are some of the more old-fashioned ways that people used to have fun that have been kept alive in our community.
They don't harm you, don't harm others.
Teenagers getting in trouble with each other.
I've mentioned this before, but when Cody and Robin were out on their date, there's a real show of purity, like ordering cocoa with whipped cream on it or going ice blocking. It feels very performative. I know that Mormons actually do this. I have a Mormon friend. I have gone on ice blocking with her. But this idea that they're so pure and they have to find these things to have fun, but it also keeps them safe. It's just like, yeah, that doesn't seem dangerous at all. How is this any different than like ice skating or roller skating or bike riding or any of those other things? Like, you're not necessarily more pure because you're sitting on a block of ice.
We finished up ice block and gathered all the kids up to have a picnic. It was the last day that we did something as a family before we flew to New York, announced to the world we were polygamous.
This is a little confusing as a viewer because we saw last season that they went to New York and they got recognized. So, but they're telling us now that they're coming out to the world. So it's a little incongruent with the timeline. I think part of it is because when you're on a reality show, you're not supposed to break that fourth wall and admit you're on a reality show, which boggles the mind because we're all watching you guys on TV. We know you're on a reality show. You can break the fourth wall. That's okay. It helps us understand things a little bit better.
The fundamentalist Mormon community and polygamists have become secretive in such a way as to threaten the rest of America, even if it's in their minds. So to be transparent, I believe, makes us more safe to them. We're hoping that other fundamentalist Mormon polygamists will actually follow our example by opening their lives up, and eventually we can become an open community instead of a closed community.
But this really all depends on how people respond to us.
I agree that having a secret society is going to make other people more suspicious of whatever it is you have going on. And in past videos, I did touch on the reasons why the Browns decided to come forward. I'm not going to rehash that now, but I agree with Cody that being more open and being more visible is going to decrease stigma.
I don't know. People are good. People are open-minded, you know, so much more than we would assume. That's just what I see. I think people are great, and I think people's minds are exactly where they need to be for us to be able to say, hey, this is our family, and you're going to find things that you really like about it.
We're becoming pups to America, and we're going to go do that today.
They're announcing to the world that they're polygamous, and it's pretty scary. We don't know how they're going to take to us.
A little bit nerve-wracking, I suppose. Stepping into the big unknown.
We're coming to this point where it's like, okay, we really are going to do this. We're going to cross this line that we've talked about for months and months and months, and we'll see what happens. What's waiting for us is scarier, I think, than what the actual experience will be.
So Cody packs and grandmothers come to take care of all the kids while they're all gone.
Leaving Truly at home.
This is your first time to be separated from her.
She's teething and she was coughing last night. And
it's a good thing my mom's coming because I'm having a hard time.
I've sat here my whole life guarding everything that I say, not give away these clues. It's freeing, but it's also very scary. And
there's a lot of bad media these days about plural marriage, has child brides. Not everybody has welfare fraud and, cheats on their insurance or taxes or abuses their kids.
Robin gives McKelty a download on how to take care of her kids while she's out of town, and the rest of the family takes off for New York City. Can we take a note here that Robin is carrying nothing and Cody has her bag? Just FYI, just a little bit of favoritism.
My first time in New York City, I mean, you see so many movies about it and everything. It was so just loud and noisy and wild, and it's like...
She was slack-jawed the whole time.
Who doesn't love New York?
I love it. Yeah, I love
The Today Show was surreal. How did it get here?
We were on the set for about 3 hours. Said during commercial breaks they were going to show us.
And I had been drinking water. I just needed to go visit the ladies' room. Hey, hurry, you're about on. I ran in there, my pants unzipped.
Interview with your pants on? Christine, I'm Meredith. I'm all, I know who you are. How's Truly doing? It's really weird that you're asking me how my daughter's doing.
Cody Brown and his wives are with us now. Good morning to you all. This is the kind of lifestyle that most would not embrace and certainly don't understand. Your dad was not a polygamist, so what led you down this path? What made you choose polygamy?
This is another situation where there's incorrect information around the family. What I would guess is that maybe his father hadn't given permission yet because maybe his father didn't want to come forward. But in the first episode of the first season, Cody's talking about his father becoming a polygamist. So I don't know, maybe Meredith just didn't know that he was and Cody didn't correct it. Maybe he hadn't gotten the okay from the dad yet. But this is another example of there's always just like this shifting story, and probably for innocent reasons most of the time, but it ends up creating this like a lack of credibility in the show.
It's just I know the answer. My brain in my mouth. I just didn't know what to say. I was like, Janelle, you know the answer, don't you? No amount of coffee will help you answer the question, why are you a polygamist?
I think this actually ended up making them seem more real. And, you know, stage fright is a thing you can't really do much about, and it's going to happen to everybody. So I actually think that the way that they handle this and how they're laughing about it when they're retelling it, it just makes them so much more likable. And finally, Cody is able to utter,
oh, shoot. It was faith-based. Part of a faith belief. This is kind of where it landed.
I just became public polygamist. My life is different now.
There's no going back. We are now out there.
I think that what we're doing is a good thing. You know, we're a very solid family, and I think that it's good to show people that this lifestyle, you can have a solid family.
And of course, this doesn't age well because what we know now and what was actually going on in the family is different than what they were presenting. I don't really fault them for that because I think you're always putting your best foot forward. You're always trying to show the best versions of yourself, especially if you're making yourselves out to be representations of a lifestyle that you think has been unfairly judged. This doesn't necessarily age well. We know that they didn't have great relationships. And even though they were able to stay together for, 25, 30 years, it doesn't necessarily mean that they were happy while they were doing it or that they were having complete relationships. And specifically speaking of Mary here. For example, I don't know if Mary and Cody were still intimate at this time, and the whole catfishing thing happened. So relationships are complicated. I think in some ways they were trying to convince themselves as much as they were trying to convince the public how stable and good their relationships were. I've had a few commenters notice that they're all wearing similar colors and what that could represent. So I don't know, but I'm guessing that it's a form of tribalism that just kind of shows that we're all on the same board. Why 3 out of 5 are choosing to wear the same color and the others aren't, I have no idea. But I went to the LDS site and I searched for colors and meaning. And so purple is a symbol of royalty or nobility. Green, which is what Mary is wearing, is a symbol of life. And red, which is what Robin is wearing, is the symbol of the blood of sacrifice. So I know the Browns aren't LDS, but I think this is the closest religion, and it's possible that there might be some overlap of the beliefs of the LDS with the fundamentalists. So I think this is the best chance we're going to get at symbolism. And again, we don't know. Are they attempting to symbolize something for us? Or not. We don't know. The Browns hang out and they do their press junkets, and Joy Behar asks,
"Can I be the fifth wife?"
Mary says they went to Central Park where they try to take pictures, and we find out Mary likes pictures different than Christine likes pictures. Christine wants background, Mary wants people. It's a pretty boring argument. So they get back on the plane and they go back home and they see their kids, and then they find out.
I got home and Madison had been reading to kind of be there to buffer. You know, our teenagers have a mind of their own sometimes. And
we didn't read the blog. One person was really nice, but then we didn't.
So we just wanted to be there. You're okay, we're okay, you're a good person, and you're loved, and this is a happy family. You just have to protect your kids from some words.
With blogging, you have no accountability. I don't care if you have those things to say to me. Say them to my face.
So they're not mentioning specific blogs. I don't know. Do any of you remember any especially salacious or outrageous blogs? I think if you put yourself on national television to say, hey, we're a normal family, you're going to have criticism. Even if your lifestyle isn't different than the general norm. If you're on television, part of it is going to be critical, and that includes me, right? So I think this is just what you sign up for when you go on reality television. Of course, they also enjoy tremendous perks like vacations and paid weddings and a lot of money coming their way. So while you can't control what the bloggers say and do, and I would especially be sensitive around my children if my children were in that situation, it's also what you signed up for. It's part of the package.
There's a lot of fear in our culture. There's a fear that your dads will be taken away. There's a fear that you'll be taken from your home. That's a fear we know. Now we're at a fear we don't know. But all the more reason, just be open and honest. We're sitting here, a complete open book, hoping that they're okay.
A week after the Browns come back from their national debut, they find out that they are a target of
a bigamy investigation.
No one's, as far as I know, no one's been threatened.
Launched an investigation into the polygamous marriage.
Tend to investigate it and see where that leads us.
It will be up to the Utah Attorney General's office to decide if criminal charges will be filed.
We don't really have anything to worry about, I don't think. Okay, this morning, just want to make sure they don't get scared. Play the kids at their school, be kind to them.
Guys outside.
Mary decides to lure the photographers away from the front of her house so when the children come home off of the bus, the photographer won't be able to get shots of them. And this whole cat and mouse thing would make a lot more sense if the kids weren't actually shown on the freaking show. So what are you protecting? You're the one who's putting their faces on television.
There's been so many unknowns and so many things we didn't plan on and really hard on us. Cody bears the brunt of it.
So on one hand, I have a lot of empathy for them because this would be really scary to be under investigation and worried about going to jail. But I also agree that Cody is going to be the one who gets charged with anything. I don't think any of the other women face jail time. I would guess that the producers are also very excited that an investigation is happening because this is just going to bring more attention to this new show that's about to air.
Did this out of any disrespect for the law. You simply are in a lifestyle choosing to abide in your faith. You turn around and there's this investigation and it scares you. It makes you search your soul. It makes you look up to the heavens and say, "You got my back," puts you in touch with your maker.
I really want to restate here that even though I don't agree with the lifestyle, it's not something I would want to do for myself. I have to give recognition to how brave they're being about being public. And is Cody a little bit of a narcissist and wants a lot of attention? Absolutely. But that doesn't take away from the fact that he really did risk a lot by coming on the show. And the part where I wouldn't do it if I was in this same exact situation comes up when we go to the kids and what they're going through. I don't think I would want to put my children through something like this. The parents call a family meeting.
Everybody knows your name. Just because I know your name doesn't mean they are your friend.
Yes, we're taking a risk for our children. At least I believe that it's going to be worth it to them in the long run.
You know, is anybody worried or concerned?
Somebody was asking me if my dad was going to jail today.
Is an investigation being done? Does not mean that he is going to jail.
Okay.
But it doesn't mean he's not going to jail either.
I've actually been doing a lot of thinking since the investigation whether or not I would do this again. It has the potential of messing up up our job situation, potential of splitting up our family. But I would choose this again. It scares me to death, the possibility of being taken away from my family, or to have Cody taken away from us, you know, and the kids needing to be split up. It scares me to death because I don't want that. But for the chance that this might change for us in the future, I would choose this route again for us.
I would choose it again. I'm tired of being afraid. I'd choose it again. I don't want my kids and my grandkids growing up oppressed.
I don't know. I don't know if I would. I don't know.
That's it for this week, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please consider liking and subscribing. It makes a huge difference on my end, and it doesn't cost you a thing. Have a wonderful week. Until next time.